Hi everyone. I want to continue the conversation that I had last week with you. I gave you a little short little video on these new licenses that are here. Why did Microsoft release these licenses? Is one of the questions I get. Another question I get is, can you mix and match licenses? Technically, yes, you can mix and match licenses between small business and enterprise. However, you have to be fully aware of what they call tenant-wide services. Some tenant-wide services cannot be configured to a specific user group, meaning they're just activated widely across the tenant. So if you had a business basic user and an E5 user in the same tenant, which you can license it that way, if you activate some of these tenant-wide services and the basic user gets the benefit of them, that basic user has to also be licensed for them. And I see it all the time where someone will come in and drop an Entra ID P2 license into a tenant and 4,000 users benefit from it. Obviously, that's completely against Microsoft's licensing terms and shouldn't be done. But the way Microsoft licensing works is you can pretty much throw anything you want into the environment. Unlike Google, where everyone gets the same license, which keeps it really, really simple from a licensing perspective. So I recommend that organizations follow that same methodology. If you're under 300 seats or you're 250 seats and growing, go to the enterprise licenses, because there's some benefits there. As you grow at enterprise, you're going to change the way you operate. You're going to need some of those benefits. If you're under 250 seats, stick with the small business licenses and so on. Now, how do these compare from a licensing perspective? And the tenant-wide licenses, and I'll put if you want to dive into tenant-wide services, Microsoft has a page that talks about it, and this is where it says some tenant-wide services are currently capable of limiting benefits to specific users. And you can read through this, and it talks about some of those things. And then also put a link in for this matrix, this feature matrix. Microsoft employee, I think out of Australia or somewhere, created this, and it's a great reference tool. It doesn't have the new licenses in here yet, but you can get an understanding. So you can come in here and select which licenses you have and scroll down the list, and you can see actually how they compare if you really truly want to get into the comparison model. And then Microsoft has their pages, these enterprise pages and SMB pages that talk about all the different products and services that are there. They are linked right here in this particular document. So if you want to go see all those particular things. So what I talk to people about is two things. If you're going to be in enterprise space, Microsoft's going to incentivize you for two bundles. One is what they call the mini bundle. This is what they call it internally. It's the E3 license plus the E5 security license. And if you need the compliance, the Purview components, then you add the Purview license, but to E3. But once you get there, really, you're at an E5 license. So just go with E5. So the incentives are really focused on Business Premium and those E5 licenses. That's really kind of where you want to be if you're a Microsoft partner. But SMB, if you're less than 250 seats, stick with Business Premium. I know the licenses say 300, but if you're 250 seats and growing, go to the enterprise licenses, because the customer's going to need some of those benefits eventually if they don't need them already. But stick with the small business license and bundle on this Microsoft Defender, this new suite that they've had here. Just bundle that on. So I really tell customers and MSPs, try to stick with one license set for your end users. If you're in the manufacturing space or if you have frontline workers, you can marry in F3 licenses. It's the F3 right here, the Microsoft 365 Frontline F3 plus the F5 security, which is similar to E3 plus F5 security. And then you've got the mix, the licenses that you kind of mix in here, and you can marry those with Business Premium, and you can marry them with the E licenses too. But just be careful of those tenant-wide services as you're activating it. But sum all this up, try to keep it as simple as you can. It eases the customer conversation. If you are the customer, it eases the management conversation. Just stick with a license set. And then you don't have to worry about any of this. It's easy to budget for. Everything is much, much easier. So there you go. Those are my recommendations. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks.